I am Kyla's stepmother, currently in a relationship, quite similar to a romantic one. You might ask how that could be possible, but there's a valid reason for everything. Let me confess what happened to us. We met through our parents' introduction. Kyla's dad was a divorcee and I was unmarried. I worked as a freelancer with a slightly higher income than office workers. I took pride in my job and enjoyed working, but I was introduced to a man, supposedly very diligent, who was divorced and raising his son alone. Turns out, Kyla's dad was a man dedicated to his family. When Kyle became a middle school student, his mother expressed her desire to travel overseas with friends, and she traveled abroad twice a year. Kyla's dad, believing she deserved the break, after raising Kyle, willingly supported her financially. However, the world was too small a place. A friend of Kyla's dad noticed Kyla's mother walking arm in arm with another man, secretly took a photo and sent it to Kyla's dad. Kyla's mother had not gone on a trip with a friend but with her secret lover. She pretended not to know Kyla's dad's friend, who she knew well, at the vacation spot. Kyla's dad was a man who worked diligently to support his family, and family was all that he knew. Kyle was a gentle and exemplary student, who took care of everything if his meals and laundry were taken care of. Kyla's mother had an affair with a man she met at an alumni meeting, and upon seeing a photo of her overseas, taken by a friend, Kyla's dad followed her. He had believed she was playing her roles as a mother and wife well, but it felt like the sky was falling when he saw her entering a motel with another man. Looking back, she had changed her phone patterns, locked her phone over trivial matters, and stopped caring for Kyle. She failed to prepare proper meals for her teenage son, and only cared about her own appearance. She seemed quite happy, giggling while looking at her phone. She had a boyfriend, so she was happy, and she didn't care about her son. Kyle's dad made the big decision to get a divorce by mutual consent and lived with Kyle. People around him couldn't let him. Family-oriented man with financial stability, live alone. They kept introducing him to other women. That's how he and I met. Kind eyes, gentle speech, and a handsome face were Kyla's dad's trademarks. I wanted to give him bonus points for being a man with a grown-up son. I mean, he took full responsibility for his son. When we got married as Kyle started high school, our family of 3 lived happily. Kyle called me Mom and he said, "I hope you live well with Dad. I trust Mom and will follow her," while talking about his biological mother's wrongdoings. So I took good care of Kyle. Kyle's dad suggested having a baby, but I was rather old, and for Kyle's emotional stability, I said we shouldn't have a baby. We were living happily in our new family when Kyle's dad was hit by a car, driven by a drunk driver on his way home from work, and died on the spot. What was so urgent that he had to leave us less than 2 years after we started living together? I resented the heavens. Moreover, when Kyle was in his junior year of high school, such an incident occurred. After losing his father, Kyle seemed lost for a while, but then focused on his studies. Seeing him like this made me feel strong, and we lived supporting each other. Some people said that since he was not my biological child, and now an adult, he should move out, but I could never do that to Kyle. He had many traits similar to his father. His father used to clean up the dishes after meals, fold laundry together, tidy up the bathroom after taking a bath, and even organize the groceries together when he came back from the supermarket. After his father had gone to heaven, Kyle helped me keep things in order around the house, just like his father. Seeing Kyle like this was a comfort to me, who was feeling depressed due to my husband's absence. Kyle became a college student and started dating a girl. They were the same age and had been dating for a year when Kyle said he was going to join the military, and she broke up with him. She said she couldn't see him when she wanted to, so she would meet a senior in her department who liked her. Seeing Kyle so sad after being dumped by his first girlfriend was heartbreaking. I thanked him for trusting me and confiding in me, and when he smiled and said, "I'll meet a good woman like you someday," I felt relieved. Kyle joined the Air Force, and although his military service was a bit long, he had more leaves and outings. On his first leave, Kyle said that military life was very hard at first. I suggested going to Broadway to see a musical and clear his head, and Kyle was thrilled and followed me. To introduce myself, I inherited good genes from my parents. Since I was young, I was taller than most girls my age, and thankfully, I didn't gain weight in proportion to the amount of food I ate. With a height of 173 cm and a weight of only 60 kg, I was quite slim. Moreover, with my bright skin tone, high nose, and deep double eyelids, people would whisper, "Look at that woman, isn't she pretty?" as I passed by. I somewhat enjoyed such attention. Excited to go to downtown after a long time, I wore a dress I used to wear when I was working. The length of the dress was above the knee, and the zipper was at the back, and I needed Kyle's help to zip it up. When I linked arms with Kyle, we looked more like an aunt and her nephew than a mother and son. We watched a musical in Broadway, and the curtain went up, and the lights went out. Only the stage was brightly lit, and we watched the show holding hands. As we immersed ourselves in the performance, it seemed that Kyle's mood was gradually becoming brighter. We went into a Western restaurant in Haiwadong Alley, with bright lights known for its good steak. Kyle's face was much brighter than before the show. Kyle had his first beer after entering college, and I felt a different emotion that I had never felt before. Handsome Kyle attracted attention wherever he went. Under the restaurant lights, Kyle's face shone even brighter, and during the meal, I harbored a thought that I shouldn't have. To be honest, that was the first time I felt a manly scent from Kyle. When he realized my skirt was short, he took off his jacket and covered my knees. His mannerism reminded me of my husband, and I burst into tears. Kyle, startled, said, "Mom, it's a happy day today. You came out with me to help me relieve my stress, and we had such a good time. Why are you like this?" and comforted me. I had missed my husband so much, but I had never shown it in front of Kyle. However, that day I couldn't hold back my emotions. We barely finished the meal, and I managed to put on a smile as we returned home. Kyle came into the master bedroom, slightly unzipped my dress, and went to his room. Kyle returned in 2 days, and I immersed myself in work. Even during my busy schedule, I found myself smiling involuntarily, thinking of Kyle's warm hand held during the musical. The next incident with Kyle was during his next leave. It was in the winter when Kyle was 22. At that time, there was a movie achieving record-breaking success, and I was saving it to watch with Kyle. Kyle was adapting to military life, and he looked happier than when he first came out on leave. I purposely suggested watching the movie at a downtown cinema, and Kyle complied. We bought a popcorn set, entered the cinema, and sat in the couple's seat, focusing on the movie while eating popcorn. Occasionally, I rested my head on Kyle's shoulder, and he naturally lent it to me. At that time, I felt a slight flutter in my heart from Kyle's arm around my shoulder. I don't even remember how I watched the movie because my heart was pounding. I was hoping the movie wouldn't end, and that Kyle wouldn't hear my fast-beating heart. Kyle eats anything well. I like seafood, so we went to a shellfish specialty restaurant, ordered a hot pot and salad, and had beer with it. That day, I found out for the first time how sweet beer could be. Kyle is weak to alcohol, but after drinking 3 shots, I don't know why his red cheeks looked so cute. We had various conversations, ordered more side dishes and beer, and went home. After each of us took a shower and sat down in the living room watching the news, Kyle said, "I want to sleep next to you tonight." I replied, "Okay, let's sleep together. I've been lonely sleeping alone every day without your dad." But I knew what Kyle meant. That night, a healthy son, and a young stepmother spent a very satisfying night. Several weeks passed after that day, until the day Kyle went out for a sleepover. I flipped through Kyle's album, thinking only of Kyle. The next time he had a sleepover, we naturally fell asleep in the same room without anyone making the first move. Looking at the picture of Kyle's dad hanging on the bedroom wall, I felt sorry, but I also felt a warm feeling as if he would understand me. Before I knew it, it was summer, and on the day Kyle came, we went on a date in short shorts. I was confident about my figure, and Kyle seemed to like my outfit. When we got home, we naturally slept in the same space at night, and I even bought new underwear to accept Kyle. Kyle said he was able to finish his military service well. Thanks to me, on the day he was discharged, and he bought chrysanthemum flowers and paid a visit to his father's charnel house. I closed my eyes and told my husband that he must be watching from heaven what I'm doing, and I hope he understands me, and if possible forgives me. Kyle, who had completed his military duty, helped me with my work before returning to school. To others, he is a son who listens well to his mother and is well-mannered. But only I know our big secret, so we were always happy. Who could have imagined that there is a stepmother who spends the night with her stepson born to her husband's ex-wife? I know well that I can't keep living like this with Kyle. If Kyle gets a new girlfriend, I'll welcome it anytime. Sometimes I want to be a cool stepmother giving love advice. When Kyle and I feel lonely, who can say anything if we find each other? Even if people criticize our relationship and throw stones at us, I think we can handle it well.